Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you into Newbee versus LGD.cdec Best of One group stage match from the round robin for Starladder China Season 10. I'm LD of Beyond the Summit, and yeah, it's going to be Newbee versus LGD.cdec. LGD.cdec on the Radiant side, they are currently 0-2 in the grid, which we can take a quick look at here. And meanwhile, Newbee 2-0. So opposite paths thus far, but LGD.cdec will look to correct their trajectory as we get ourselves into the game. And yeah, with that being said, we'll show our draft screen here. Go through some of the picks. So it's a first overall pick Razor from LGD.cdec. And the very quick reply from Newbee is a Brew and a Centaur. Interesting picks. Neither lanes well at all against Razor in the early stages. Brew can get some CS with Clap, but you only have so much mana to support that. And every time you go in for that, you're getting static linked, right-clicked, harassed, and generally pressured. And if the game goes late enough, Razor also matches up pretty well against him there. Static Link persists through the Brewmaster split, and Razor generally builds a BKB, which largely negates what Brewmaster brings to the table. So, not particularly good matchups against the Razor, but they are just very strong team fighters in general. And it seems like team fight supremacy might be the Newbee goal here. They ban out the Tidehunter for LGD.cdec, whilst removing the Nature's Prophet, and then they go for an Ancient Apparition. So Newbee secures some really good pick-off potential. The Blink, and I'm thinking even an Invoker might be their choice here, with the Sunstrike into Ancient Apparitional, into Centaur Stomp early on. That's a possibility. It's a bit weaker now with the mana cost to increase to Hoof Stomp at all levels, 130, and you can only get one off at the early stages without a Clarity Potion. So not 100% on that, but it does seem like it could be an Invoker pick here. As for LGD.cdec, they pick up an Undying. So they get the Undying Jakiro, extremely potent laning stage. And whenever you see an Undying pick, the question is, can you kill the Tombstone? And the answer for Newbee is not really right now. They don't have that much physical damage. So Tombstone should be a factor in these fights. At the same time, Newbee have two great tools to deal with it. Sakuchi and Stampede. Haste that will not be removed by any slows, and even by the zombies, you can still sprint away from them at maximum speed. We have seen this Undying pick, particularly as a counter to Brewmaster. Something I talked about with Hani, and he pointed out how the zombie slows go through magic immunity, and in general, the Tombstone is just a really effective way to kind of kite and control the Brewmaster aspects when he splits. So I think it offers something in that regard here. The main downside is, well, they have no real stuns, and they're up against a Weaver and Stampede. So LGD.cdec picking the Undying this early does lay your cards on the table a bit, and perhaps they should have saved it for like a 4th or 5th pick. Not something Newbee were likely to ban. It's still kind of... Oh, sorry. I actually have the teams mixed up. Jesus. I apologize, guys. These overlays are really... Oh, you know what? They changed the freaking software again. Now the Radiant's on the left. It used to be on... Oh, my God. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the Starladder broadcaster tool is amazing, but they patch it, and I have not had a chance to read the patch notes. So it used to be that Radiant was the team's name that was on the left was Radiant, and the team on the right was Dire, and or no, the other way around, and then they swapped it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, Newbee is on the Dire side, so apologies for all the confusion. For those listening on the live stream, for those who know the TV, you probably know what I'm talking about. That's the benefit of having a ticket. Assuming you can hear me, I did hear there were some Perfect World audio issues, so. To those, I can only say, we're trying, guys. We have very little control over the internet routing between where we are in Los Angeles and the servers in China. So we do our best. We've let Valve know in the past that it's an issue. And as far as we know, they're still pending some solutions to it. But yeah, Rubik will be picked up here by LGD.cdec. Used to be the support to counter Weaver. Gives you an instant disable. Sakuchi is a fantastic spell to steal. And with Sakuchi stolen, you could Sakuchi up to the Weaver, then lift him. The only issue is they don't have like that great follow-up disable. There's no RP, there's no Doom, which just got banned. I think a smart ban from Newbee. And yeah, there's very little control for this Weaver, even after a lift. There's some good spells to steal here, though. Not just the Sakuchi, also the Brewmaster split. Stampede's a big one as well for Rubik. And he is one of the best supports to counter a Brew and Centaur initiation. If he doesn't get stomped or clapped, he can just lift, toss them back, and disengage for his team safely. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just notifying the Twitch chat viewers who have not yet caught up that overlay software is hard. Man, I just can't catch a break with some of these tech issues. No excuses, guys. But hey, at least it's just during the draft, not in the game. Yeah, Lich will be banned out now by LGD.cdec. Interesting ban. I was feeling like Newbee would go for some sort of setup stun here. Something like a Shadow Demon, perhaps?
Enchantress.
Okay, no, they won't go that way. They'll go Enchantress. So they get some laning prowess, and I guess they kind of needed it. Aged Apparition is a fairly inactive laner. But yeah, I'm wondering what LGD.cdec have up their sleeve for this last pick. Still very limited lockdown for a Weaver, unless they steal a big spell. If they steal the Brewmaster Split, or maybe Centaur Stomp, then things do change a bit. But hey, you don't have to be able to gank Weaver if you 5-man them down early. And that might be what LGD.cdec have planned out. We'll see how they map it soon. They know this Enchantress will probably look for some early pressure. And in terms of who can be ganked this game, Razor, not the easiest gank. Jakiro and Undying, very tanky. It may be more of just a pushing Enchantress, but we'll see a Naga come out now for LGD.cdec. And the question is it that support Naga? No, it's maybe playing it. Alright, we're looking at a solo mid Naga here, I believe. With that, we'll get ourselves in the game. So maybe it's not solo mid, but should be a core Naga regardless. And it does give them some ways to deal with the Weaver. If you have vision of him, net can be disjointed by invisibility. But if you have vision of him and you net him, then he is going to be held in position. Still, he can time-lapse out of it, and it's not the best lockdown, but it is a hero that can outcarry the Weaver late game, and that may change the overall approach that Newbee have to take in this one. But with that being said, guys, our third match of Starladder China now underway. LGD.cdec on the Radiant Newbee on the Dire. And we can introduce our teams now. We'll have maybe going solo mid as the Naga, rushing the bottle. Towards the top lane, 3-3-3, KY will be playing your Razor. Q will be handling the support Ruby. Garter, the Undying, and that does... Oh, I don't know how to say this. Well, we've got Jakiro. If anybody in the chat knows how to pronounce it, hopefully I'll have a chance to look in 2 minutes and you can tell me, but otherwise I'll just be calling him Jakiro this game. Meanwhile, on the Newbee side, we've got Sang Sheng handling the Ancient Apparition. Mu will be playing your Brewmaster mid. And he does pick up an early Stout Shield. Rabbit, the offlane Centaur, most likely. Banana, the Enchantress. That leaves Hao as the Weaver. Good positioning here from Newbee. They've left a Vanguard in Hao to cover the backside, the potential flank wall. Towards the front, they set a trap. They want to protect this Enchantress jungle, and they will be successful in their efforts to do so, but not fully. Still, this camp's warded off. The pull camp's denied, and then on top of that, the big camp also blocked off. So Enchantress will still have this camp and the 2 mediums to work with. So there's some potential here for Banana. Not to mention, he can go offensive jungle if he really needs to. Double damage now picked up by 3-3-3. I'll head towards the middle lane. Maybe they're running him all the way bottom. Yeah, it looks like... Yeah, we'll be the Naga mid. So yeah, 3-3-3 will make the long journey there, and should get there just about the time the creeps meet each other. Maybe loses a tiny bit of experience, but welcome in the Jakiro Undying dual lane offlane meta. Mostly just these Jakiro offlane picks that we've seen as of late. It's the support Undying. We have seen a core Undying recently. There was one played in W... in Game Show League recently. Hani and I were casting that, but yeah, this will be a farming Jakiro with an early Null Talisman picked up and a support Undying. I also saw this lane from EG at WEC, but they ran it with a Tuskar Jakiro, and it was a complete train wreck. Not to say the lane isn't strong, but ended up going very poorly for them. Meanwhile, bottom, they've lifted Hao back in. He doesn't have Sakuchi for 2 seconds. He's not going to die to this, but he runs back in. Lets all his damage get drained, and he'll be off the fight for some time. So looking at our mid lane, we've got a Naga facing up against a Brewmaster. And slight advantage, I would say, early on to the Brew, just because Clap is so incredibly good at zoning other melee heroes out, but Naga can just bottle Crow, spam the Riptide, get her early points in the illusions, look to stack the jungle. What could make this a little bit more difficult, though, for maybe, is that there's an Enchantress in the game, and he's getting pressured really hard. Constantly spammed, nuked a bit, Courier making its long journey back to the base. So, they may not win this mid lane early on, but they can make up for it later, and they are getting basically free farm in the off lane. As we see already, a trip entirely back to base for Hal. Accustomed to his aggressive play, he is not getting much space. Now Banana smokes. This one not spotted out. And Newbee know that this area was not warded because they defended it with 4 before the creep spawned. So Banana will be making a sneaky maneuver. No way LGD knows this one's coming. At least not exactly where he's making his approach. But his Dark Troll Warlord's got very little time left on it. Maybe about 8 seconds to go before it expires. And he'll find a clapper. This is not good enough, really. They need some way to initiate here. Weaver can't do it. In the mid lane, the Brew can't really do it unless the Naga lets herself get clapped. And even then, this Brew's way too low to engage. As I was mentioning early on, you do see the advantage for the Brewmaster, with that Enchantress support especially making the difference, but still, Naga's getting her levels and can catch up later on the farm. This Banana is a bit of a nuisance. We haven't seen too much Enchantress play lately. Used to be one of Chuan's go-to supports, though now he is playing carry. And Banana continues to be, I guess, the main Enchantress player in China. Just checking Skype, because I thought we had a technical issue, but my mods are just chatty about the game, so nothing to worry about here, folks. As always, any Southeast Asian game involving Pinoys apparently inspires controversy amongst the people. And now Banana strikes a course towards mid lane, but he's spotted out here by Naga Illusion. Great scouting by Maybe, and he knew this Enchantress was somewhere in his jungle, having already been seen by Q, but still, you want to know exactly where she is so that you don't waste time just kind of idly expecting a gank. Like, you can't just sit at your tower assuming that anytime Enchantress is off the map, you're getting ganked. Because then you just lose the lane by default, even if you don't die. So because of this, he's able to send his illusions towards the jungle. He'll be going for a double stack here, and I'm curious to see if maybe he's able to successfully complete this. Will the timing be right? Walking in with the illusions now. The first one going in. The second one... Oh, too late. Didn't micro that. Actually won't get off either pole because the illusions despawn. So, kind of a fail. But still does a tiny bit of Riptide damage to... Oh no, actually Riptide didn't even hit. Yeah, they despawned too soon. So, yeah, total fail. It happens. But how's getting support now in the bottom lane? Monoburn is being thrown out a bit here and there. And really, no killing potential from anyone. I think this Centaur might be the most likely hero to die. Naga versus Brew, almost impossible to die in this matchup, I would say. Unless Brew gets 6 and immediately ults and kills you before you get 6. Because otherwise, you can just... well, actually, he doesn't have a point ensnare. I was going to say you can just ensnare the Earth Panda, Song and run, but... Yeah, can't actually do that. Oh, bottom lane. Never mind. Guess I'm totally wrong. First blood will be bottom. They'll get 3-3-3 here. Hal gets that first kill, and no real trade. Q also taking some chip damage now. Banana makes his mark felt, and he's up to 1,400 gold. He didn't even get the first blood. This is just his own farm. So I'm wondering if we see something a bit greedier from him. Or if it's just going to be the straight treads, the urn, these types of items. Moo continue to push out this middle lane while Maybe just sits back, waits for his bottle to arrive. Let's see. Guess Reign of Aquila should be coming now. Yeah, he's picked up his Basilius. So gets those cost-effective stats early on, a little bit of additional pushing potential here, and it'll help him to deal with the Brewmaster right-clicks. Even just a single-point Drunken Brawler is an annoying, guaranteed double damage crit at all levels. For that first auto attack, that is. So let's see if maybe's a little bit better with the stacking this time. The timing should be more on the mark. It looks like one illusion will scout the rune. Let's see. He gets the first stack. Looking for the second now. I think the timing's right. I was just about 55. Ah, just missed it. It was like a half second late. So he gets a single double stack. Still, he's doing it on his own. And he's CSing okay mid with 21 CS. So decent start for him. But these could be triple stacks on both of them by now if the timing was quite right. Banana going in top lane, but just the nick of time Garter and the Jakiro will retreat out. Not able to find that kill. Meanwhile, Hal's being a pest on this bottom lane. 23 and 4, constantly just leeching experience. Now rotating towards mid lane. They're looking to set up on Maybe. And Maybe has Song. But if the Earth Panda's there at the right moment, then the Song won't be enough to save him. Clap. He's even got a net as well. He could. Oh, Boulder Toss got him before he could saw him. He was waving his arms to try and get it off, but couldn't in time. Too much burst damage. The Sakuchi, the double auto attack from the Weaver, and the Boulder Toss, plus the right-click immolation damage from the Fire Panda. Absolutely pristine execution. On top lane, Stampede's online for Rabbit. Jumping in aggressively on Garter. He'll double edge him. He kills him off fast, but now the zombies can turn on him. Dual Breath cooling down. Might lose their Centaur in exchange. He's fairly tanky with these Tranquil Boots and Stout Shield, but the zombies are doing pretty heavy work, and it looks like he'll go down in the end. Jakiro turns this and looks for a secondary kill. He's going to find one on Sansheng here as well. Ancient Apparition killed off. Easily dealt with. But the trade will be there for Newbee. They're pushing in the mid lane. This Brew has already done 3/4, or 2/3 damage. About to be 3/4 to the tower. And Naga's not here to defend. She TP'd in top lane. Maybe wanted to help his team and set up some kills, but so far hasn't really gotten anything done that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Let's see if he can find anything more. Rubik stole double edge, but this is truly a double-edged sword to steal as an ability, not just as a name of the spell. As his low HP pool, it's crippling to be casting double edge. Rotation now. Rotation for Banana. LGD.cdec will back off. They do have Song, but they're going against the Brew Blink, and in 1 minute they're going against the Split as well. That would be very dangerous. Tower gets denied top lane. So another loss here for LGD.cdec. They get a tiny bit of gold, but it's not like anyone's close to a really big item. Razor just sitting on 1200 gold. Jakiro kind of close to a mech, but still a few minutes off from all the same. Now the push in mid. Split's not even up. They'll glyph and try to hold this one. They'll drop the Tombstone as well, forcing Moo a bit off the tower, but not fully out of the fight. Does Hal risk going back in? It seems they'll accept that this tower is going down. With the Naga TPing as well, the Song would be way too difficult to contest. And so they'll let it go. So a tower deny for a tower deny, but that was a 5-hero rotation, or 4-hero rotation from LGD.cdec. 1 hero still bottom in 3-3-3, just to make that happen. Tao continues to move forward. Banana's in position a bit to the east. Maybe looking for follow this one up. And Hao will make his way all the way down to 3-3-3. And I wonder if they just look to push. They have their Bassi. Enchantress has an urn. Brew has his blink. And Centaur can assist from afar with Stampede. Tranquil Boots picked up. Rabbit is about to get his Blink Dagger. And honestly, to me, Rabbit is the best Centaur player in China, if not the world. Not a player you want to be giving this fast of a blink. Rabbit, TP, sees the TP coming in for the Naga. Won't engage into this yet. Getting closer and closer. 200 gold and counting. Moo now farming towards his Arcane Boots, and Newbee just kind of biding their time while they wait for these core items to come out. But as soon as they do, I expect a fresh wave of aggression. We'll see a Centaur Blink Stampede. We'll see Panda splitting, Hao diving past towers. In fact, well, who am I kidding? Hao is always diving. But this time it's for a courier, and it's carrying a headdress. This is the Jakiro's mech component. It'll be 3 minutes delayed if this goes down. But it does dodge. And now it just heads straight back. I don't think he actually saw Hao. But Hao didn't see the courier either. And now his own courier joins the fray. Funny stuff. It couldn't be worse for LGD.cdec though. There's now an Invis room picked up on the Brew of Moo, but the Brew of Moo. What a rhyme that was. Won't actually go in. I'll let the Invis rune expel, and then he'll just go in anyway. On to Q with the Boulder Toss, the Clap to follow this up. 3-3-3, static linking and doing decent damage, but not sure it's enough. Hao now on the chase, working onto the Jakiro as he's forced off the lane. Garter goes down and they're dying, and they'll look at the Jakiro dropping soon as well. It's 3 down for the count. They're looking for a 4th here on the Razor, and the minus armor is stacking up, but he finally kills off the Bug, and Moo finishes the job anyway. Blink Clap on in. That's 4 heroes down. The lone survivor is your Naga of Maybe. Has no TP scroll and is currently trapped behind his own tower. And I believe he TP'd in to defend this, which means if Newbee want to go on him, they could. They're thinking about it. I'm surprised maybe he's sticking around. He has allies respawning. He's maybe counting on a quick song. No pun intended. But Blink, stop. HF personal, and he's done for. He's done for. That's a death for the Naga. Really the lone saving grace for LGD.cdec if they want to turn this game around, and not getting it. Rubik stealing Sakuchi now and charging forward, but it's into an Enchantress stun. Then Sakuchi's his way back out of this as they follow up the aggression. Q getting confident, knowing he has some extra mobility if things go south for him. And will, in the end, just retreat out safely. But he's going to be caught on the backside by Sancheng, who has actually gone for the max cold feet. Still a fairly uncommon build. I think Sancheng... Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Sniper mode engaged. Sniper mode engaged. Sniper mode engaged. Oh, just... No, it got him! It got him! I think he's done for. Yeah. What a play. Sancheng puts on his MLG no-scope and delivers. It honestly looked like his model was outside of the visual effect, but I guess the actual area of effect is like just the tiniest smidge wider. And it was enough to make it count. And Newbee have just kept this pressure up so long bottom lane that Stampede is almost up again. They'll slow 3-3-3 here with the Stampede. Then they blink double edge stomp in. Once again, Rabbit on the mark. Easily set up by his own ultimate. And now they'll get the kill. Looking for a bit more. The Brew will jump in. They've stolen Clap on Rubik. That's not going to cut it. They needed that split steal. It's not ready yet, though. 8 seconds and counting as Q gets pursued behind the tower. Brought down by the aggression of Newbee. Now 2 heroes trapped. Rabbit, stomp on 2 again. Double edge follow-ups there, but he doesn't want to risk killing himself. Now he can throw it out. Garter, I'll take the double edge. Rabbit collects his bounty. And Newbee just crushed through. 13-2 already. This is quickly getting out of hand. They now lead by 7.5k gold, 8k experience, and 100% tempo. There's been no momentum at all this game for LGD.cdec. The only momentum they got was when they turned top lane and got the Jakiro double kill. I believe that's their only 2 kills this game. Yeah, he didn't get the last hits, but actually, maybe it was only a single kill. But yeah, either way, that engagement was their only really good fight where I'm like, okay, LGD.cdec has some momentum now. Jump in. Once again onto Q. Oh, he's caught out by Rabbit. Oh, this is bad. Rabbit, will he go down as an exchange? That would not be a bad trade, but even though the damage is stolen, this Razor will have to stay in range for a long time. He does a phase bridge, though. Continue to pursue Rabbit. I think one more auto attack will do it. No, it needs 2. The Banana's there to slow him down still. They get the kill in the end. As the Ancient Apparition ult flies forward, 3-3-3 will pay with his life, but so too does Hal. The Weaver gets picked off for this. Nago's foot pushing top during this time. A 2-for-2 exchange, 2 cores for a core and a support. Not too shabby if you're LGD.cdec. But they'll give up a 3rd as well. So in the end, a 3-for-2. This is buying time for their Naga, though. Maybe up to 2,900 gold. And ultimately, as good of a start as it's been for Newbee, they don't have the Naga. And they don't really have the strongest late game. Your Weaver is still working on his Midas. Just could buy it now if he wants to. I'm assuming that will be the pickup here for Hal. But say goodbye to your Jakiro once again if you're LGD.cdec. Down he goes. Nothing he can do. Meanwhile, in the Radiant Jungle, it'll be another death for Q. His 5th of the game. They're really starting to stack up as Newbee continue to press the advantage. They'll get their Midas now. Another blink. Another stop. This is the big one. They gotta take this Naga down quickly. Song, not gonna be good enough. That 2-second stomp from the Centaur. More than enough to get the kill. 2.75 to be exact. Well, this is often what happens when you give Rabbit his Centaur and you don't shut him down early on. Really rose to prominence in the international community's eyes during TI4, but had been fantastic even in the months leading up to that. He was by far the biggest reason, in terms of individual play, why LGD made it convincingly through the China qualifiers. For every game Rabbit had was brilliant, and he's only gotten better since then. The main knock on Newbee has just been strategy. At least in some of their earlier matches and other tournaments, they've looked a little bit shaky. Decision-making has been questionable, but in this particular match, it's been on the money. Albeit against what most would consider a Tier 2 Chinese team in LGD.cdec. A Tier 2 team with potential and upside, and maybe someday can become a Tier 1 team, but they're not quite there yet, it seems, and LGD.cdec will push in bottom lane. 4 heroes clumped as Moo's readying his split. 9 seconds on Stampede. Now make it 5. 10 seconds on the Clap ultimate. They're not going to give this one up. If LGD.cdec don't back right now, they're going to give up some kills. Although Rabbit is forced to stampede. He tanks a lot of damage, but it's not enough follow-up. Going in for a secondary stomp. Won't end up getting it off. They still get 2 kills. They look for more. The Razor finished off quickly. 3 dead. Undying will be your 4th. Newbee cleaned the floor with them, wiping LGD.cdec off the face of the map. The lone survivor is once again Maybe. It's getting closer and closer to that relic. But it's still a long path from there. Then you need your Radiance. Then you need your Boots of Travel. Then you really need the Manta style. And once that's all said and done, then you get a Heart. Maybe the Heart before the Manta, but either way. Once those items are done, if Newbee haven't broken your base and you're not too terribly far behind, then you might be able to mount a comeback. But that's a solid 10-15 minutes away, depending if Newbee feed any kills. And with that one additional kill LGD.cdec got, the dream is officially dead. There's no 420. There will be new 322 this day. There are no dreams for all the Twitch chat viewers. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, folks. Maybe we can get the 555 special, the iconic fake area code that most TV shows use. It just doesn't have that same sense of excitement surrounding it, really. Stream delay is a funny thing. But Newbee still have plenty of core items to snap up, and they're working on them in a hurry. Rabbit, now building towards his mechanism. Shang has picked up their first 4 staff. They now have an Aghanim's nearly complete on Mu. How, after the Midas, working on the Lincoln Sphere. Yeah, Ultimate Orb picked up. Well, meanwhile, top lane, they go into Rabbit. Lifted, drop back down, but he stampedes his way out of this. He's very low. The zombies continue pursuit. They'll be killed off by the reinforcing each apparition and the creep wave, and will make his way out. Ah, the other dream is 666. The Devil's Own Brew. That's Peering Flax's dream. The Hail Satan dream. One of the most entertaining broadcasts I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of. Hope I get to cast with good old P Flax sometime soon. The Newbee are not taking over this Radiant jungle again. Hao is starting to be less and less afraid of the kind of damage that LGD.cdec can bring to the table. And this goes back to my original draft analysis, where with this Naga pick, they get a net that can potentially hold Hao in position if he doesn't have time lapse, but they don't have proper lockdown. There's no Disruptor, there's no Doom, there's no Tidehunter, no Void, no Magnus, no AoE, burst damage, or long duration lockdown. And no great single target disables, aside from the Rubic Lift and whatever he steals. But even then, once Hao gets his Lincoln Sphere, yeah, then it gets real tough. That puts the pressure on the Rubic at that point. I still will never give up on a team that has a Naga, but what concerns me for LGD.cdec is that nobody else is scaling particularly well this game. 333, Razor is a decent scaling carry, but doesn't really have the farm that you're looking for if a Razor's going to take over a game. As Rabbit, oh, he's been caught out here, but he might still get off a decent initiation. He pops the Stampede, and then he retreats even with LGD.cdec spreading the trap. They're going to lose Carter for this. One more imp will end him, and they get more. The Brew splits in a bit farther. They'll kill off the Jakiro as well. Q forced to retreat out, and that was with the trap. And with 150 gold of the Tombstone going the way of Newbee, you might as well call it 3 kills worth of gold. Close to it, anyway. But I'm trying to think, are there any other dream numbers? We've got 322, obviously, that's the classic. 420 for the celebrators of a wonderful day in April. Clap on the Q top lane. And now they have Shepherd Schnolt to follow this one up. Ice Blast, it's going to hit him. He's probably done for. One more auto attack, he's definitely gone. But he's charging in. He's just not afraid of much. He decides he's going to shatter anyway, and he was right. He ends up going down. Song was used by Naga, though, and they might turn this. This is going to be 2 dead. Potentially a 3rd. Nope, everyone else makes their way out. Rabbit will TP away. Weaver still split pushing, and Moo now jumping back out in the middle lane. But yeah, you've got the Devil's Own Brew 666, 555. What else is there? I'm not sure. Those are the main ones. But Radiance is online. So LGD.cdec, at least they can see how this game might turn around. They still have to get there. They still have to travel the long and the long and difficult road, endure many hardships along the way, and are not there yet by any means. But the one concern is there's an Enchantress on the side of Newbee. And that means Naga illusions can be enchanted, and well, even if Naga's getting farmed, they are giving up a lot of kills elsewhere. Now leading by nearly 4 times the kills of Team LGD.cdec. Newbee hold a 20k gold lead, nearly. A little bit less than that, 18k it looks like, and a 20k experience lead. And they just keep on pushing in. They've gone back for a mech on Rabbit, though I must admit his mana pool is stretched rather thin. Just that initial stomp initiation is about half his mana pool. You throw the mech on top of that, that's pretty much all of it. He has enough for 2 stomps, 1 stampede, and a mech. That's enough if you have full mana. But he'll definitely want to keep this, keep some bottle charges for Moo near him. Looking in for another jump. He wanted to go really aggressive for that, but the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast is already going top. It's scouting out for maybe. But the one they'll find is BZZ. Clapped, now split upon, and he BKBs. That's a brew split for a BKB. And that was the 9-second charge, so... a fairly expensive one. Meanwhile, the smoke from LGD.cdec, they're gonna find Rabbit. Oh, this is a difficult one to get out of. He's got Stampede, he'll mech. Can he run? He's just gonna let himself go. Chain stunned by the stolen stomp of Q. Very nicely played. To be fair, Newbee have not taken the tier 2 mid or top yet. Then they are letting Naga slowly begin to flex their muscles, getting closer to the boots of travel. But I would still say, realistically, if LGD.cdec win this, it's going to be at least 20 to 25 minutes before they have enough on the Naga to think about forcing any sorts of aggressive fights. For now, they'll have purely defensive, counter-reacting engagements. And the top tower will fall. Dire gets the last hit. But it's down, so that's 1 tier 2 to go. And Newbee press forward. Looking for the Jakira that's TP now. There's no one really close. Actually dealing with these Naga illusions on the backside of the fight. Was they even stampede the Weaver in a bit deeper, but Moo wasn't in range for anything. The Weaver has no lockdown. And it won't amount to too much. It's still a very low cooldown though. Only 70 seconds. It'll be ready for the next engagement. Newbee may be thinking they could find someone without a TP. LGD.cdec just sit back and farm. They just want to buy time for the Naga. They know they're not very strong right now. And now the Boots of Travel do arrive for maybe. So he gets some additional mobility. Something he'll need to keep these lanes out and to dodge away from the constant pressure around the map that Newbee are offering. Speaking of that constant pressure, Moo and Rabbit are grouped up mid. Looking to push in on this tier 2 tower. I'm not seeing LGD.cdec defending this. Even with a perfect zone into a Macrofire, into a dual breath. They only have a level 1 Ice Path, so not much lockdown to follow this up. And then if the fight fails, you lose your Rex. So I expect they're just going to sit back and defend the high ground. That's what we'll see. Already want to check the buybacks here. 0 buybacks for LGD.cdec. Something that Newbee may look to punish. Though they don't know it for sure. They know they're really far ahead. They may not know exactly how much, but they probably have a sense. And they also have a Radiance that goes against LGD.cdec now with the Enchanted Illusions that Banana can bring to the table. And the difference is the Naga's own illusions aren't that scary versus Newbee, right? Because you've got a very tanky Centaur, 1600 health, and a mech. Very tanky Ancient Apparition, nearly completed his Aghanim Scepter. The Brew, already with the Ags. Weaver with the Lincolns, 1300 health. And even the Enchantress, 1500. So Radiance Burn doesn't really hurt Newbee. But Radiance Burn will really hurt LGD.cdec. Especially this Rubik. I guess he's the main one. 900 health. No significant tank items on their team. Just a casual cloak, a BKB. Those are decent, but you go beyond that, there's not too much. So yeah, this Radiance Burn for Newbee will be very effective. They blink it on maybe. He barely gets off a song, but he's got no Boots of Travel, and this Brew Split doesn't care about the song. As he'll clap and Boulder Toss and bring maybe down. Cyclone, not even needed. Just that ranged attack from the Wind Panda, enough to secure the kill. And they pursue forth, onwards and upwards. But they won't find anyone here. And this is really the key item that Newbee were waiting for. They get a Desolator on How now. This was their high ground item. They needed something to quickly bring down tier 3 towers. With the minus armor this provides, LGD.cdec are going to have their work cut out for them defending the base. And they're also going to have to get back soon. The smoke, still some time left on it, but it's just such an underwhelming smoke gank. It's a Rubik and Jakiro. Like, what are you going to do with that? They just have very little damage. Macropyre, yeah, but they're Stampede. Heroes can just run out of it. And with the level 1 Ice Path, it only lasts for a second. Very easily juked away from. So I'm feeling like Newbee, just wait for the second Aegis. And it's actually about to spawn. 1 minute to go on this. Then they should be pushing in. Beyond that, you still will have the edge for at least 10 to 15 minutes, but it's a slowly decreasing edge, at least in the sense that Naga is getting big. Yeah, Undying falls off pretty hard. Jakiro is a bit underwhelming in late game. Unless players choose to stand in Macropyre, but with no like Chronosphere, you can't really set it up. And Razor is also pretty underfarmed. Still, it's a Naga. You just never want to have to deal with that late game. Doesn't really matter what the supporting cast looks like. Q manages to steal Sakuchi here. He'll zap with Fade Bolt to remove the Liquid Sphere. Good Rubik play, of course, and well, now they jump in mid. But the BKB's there from 3-3-3, and now Newbee want to just disengage from this. As they lift up the Weaver, throwing him back in, toss him into a net. How has the time lapse, he'll get it off. Did almost die, but as you can see, even with the Rubik lift, the perfectly timed Ice Path, then he comes back down to Earth and just dies. Or then just time lapses, and they can't get the kill. Now Newbee know that it's hard for LGD.cdec to fight. No Tombstone for 40, no Razor Ultimate for this engagement. And no real position on the map to make to force that type of fight. The Clash is not available, and well, we'll just see Newbee taking an Aegis. This is the final component to the high ground attempt. Weaver with a Desolator, and as well as an Aegis. And potentially even a buyback on How. Yeah, he does have one if he wants to use it in the next fight. That buyback time lapse. Potent, but can end poorly. I have seen it once in a while that a Weaver buys back, time lapses it, and then, oh, whoops, I had 10 health at the time that the game takes me back to, and now I'm dead again. So you do have to be a bit mindful about that, but yeah. Here we go. Up onto the high ground. Pipe is at the ready. Shiva's Guard also in line, and Newbee begin their slow and steady siege. Not the quickest pushing lineup, but a very reliable chip damage type of draft. And now they'll blink it. Shiva's clap on 2. The follow-ups here. Cycloning 1 into the air while dealing with the other. Garter gets caught out by the Ice Blast. Will he end up dropping to this one? Force back a bit off the fight. The defensive Song will allow them to retreat. But the Brew Split proves a nuisance during this time. And with Song ending, then how do they fight? That's the question. The zombies stack up, but this Panda's going to be very tanky when he returns. 3-3-3. Force back, move blinking out, but he had 2200 health, and a Shiva's and an Eggs. They're really not killing him. And they stole the Brew Split. That could be big. But they've changed the way that the Rubik Steel works. It used to be if they had an Eggs, you would get the benefit, but for probably close to a year now, it's been that if you don't have the Eggs, you don't get the bonus. So this is just going to be a regular level 3 Primal Split. Still a good spell to steal by all accounts, but not quite as strong as Moose. Doesn't get that secondary clap or the crit chance. Rabbit, working on 3-3-3 now. Will get tossed back into the stolen Primal Split, but he just retreats out. He's still got Pipe available, and Mech. He's really just baiting this one. Now he'll pop the Pipe, and the turn is attempted. How quickly dealing with the Tombstone. LGD.cdec strongest team fight item, while Moo leaps in. Finishes off the Jakiro, now hunting for more. The stolen Brew Split, actually doing very little in the end. It kited and controlled Newbee, but it did not finish them off, and now Sakuchi's stolen. Q is doing everything in his power to hold off this push, but Newbee just keep on pressing in. Garter next. Clapped, dealt with. And now Blink Stomp. Rabbit's turn to engage. Looks for Maybe here, who's playing it real far back, all the way near his well. Mu also diving. Newbee are just trying to intimidate LGD.cdec and force them to GG out of pure feeling of helplessness. But it won't end up working. And 32 minutes in, Newbee finally cracked that first lane of racks, now leading by 30,000 gold, 30,000 experience, everything on Maybe's shoulders. But when your Naga is 8k gold behind the enemy Weaver, who got a late Midas, like a 12-minute Midas somehow, I think it was, as an off-lane Weaver, and you're still down 8k gold, there's really no way to put it nicely. You are losing the game, and you're losing it extremely friggin' hard. But if you draft a Naga and you lose the lanes, the natural thought is, well, we still have Naga, right? So let's see this one through to its conclusion. We weren't really counting on winning the early lanes. Although they kind of were with the rest of their draft, to be totally honest. Jakiro, Undying, even Razor, like, these heroes should win their lanes. They just didn't win them hard enough. And a lot of the way this game has developed, it just goes back to Banana's early movements. They might not look like the biggest deal. Like, he sent the one Saturn mid, was throwing out a couple Hellfire Blast, not Hellfire Blast, Jesus, whatever those nukes are called, the Hadoukens. Oh, hold that thought. Plat. Now the jump in, onto the Jakiro. He'll quickly die to this. Garter's probably next. Right click down by the Fire Panda. He will end up dropping here momentarily. Boulder toss in 1 second. That'll be lopped in. And the Fire Panda will collect its prize. It's a multi-kill. Congratulations to everyone in Dota TV who got a prize for witnessing that one. But yeah, the Enchantress's presence wasn't just the mid lane. It took over the jungle, slowed down the enemy Rubik early on. As Weaver is pursuing 3-3-3 out. Why'd he even walk into this courier? That was an 8,000 gold courier that Hao just fed. That was a total courier feed. No question about that. Sloppy play. But, will it matter? If they want, they can wait 3 minutes for their 8,000 additional gold. I mean, that is that even with that 8,000 gold bounty being off the map, essentially, it is still a 32k gold lead. So it's effectively still a 24k gold lead, even with those items out of the game. That's how friggin' far ahead Newbee are. They still have over a 20k gold lead after losing an 8k courier. That's impressive. Mu now retreating awful. Meanwhile, the Boinkin comes from Rabbit, jumping directly to Q. Finishing off that Rubik, now being forced a bit off the fight. Ancient Personal connects on 3. Garter driven back, herded towards as well by Hao. He'll be finished off. Razor narrowly surviving this one, but won't really matter. Rabbit has his eyes on the more important objective. He'll go for the second tier 3 tower. And this should be a second lane of racks. The split push for Maybe is not really enough. He'll try and cut the wave, but there's already creeps in the base, pounding away at the tier 4 towers. This will be the end. LGD.cdec, they might fight on, but they've already lost their second melee racks. They're not coming back from this. It's just not going to happen for them. One last fight, that's what they'll give it. But even the support Ancient Apparition isn't an easy kill. They net him, and then he uses Ghost Scepter to remove that physical-based stun, or disable, I should say, as the ethereal form that he was in. Not affected by the ghost, not affected by the net. Yeah, so 2 lanes of racks down. No comeback in sight. Just waiting for LGD.cdec to admit that they're beat. And if Newbee want to play this one super safe, there's still room to farm. They can get a butterfly. Oh, what was that? Huh? Was that a fountain trip stampede? I think Rabbit just stampeded to go to the fountain. Unless I'm blind as a bat, I'm pretty sure he just stampeded. Nobody was being ganked. Nobody was low on HP. Well, you know you're far ahead when casual stampede to go heal. And that is a luxury position to be in for Rabbit. And it'll be one more Roche for Newbee. They want to play this one a bit safer, picking up a refresher orb now on their brew. So they have a double split for the next fight. A Shiva's Guard on him, Ancient Apparition with an Aghanim Scepter, potentially working on a Dagon now. Maybe a Necro Book if he's really worried about winning this game. I don't think he should be. Weaver Butterfly. Like, every hero has a big item coming out soon. And the 8K Courier was dead. Now it respawns. That's an Assault Cuirass. That's a completed Butterfly. What else was on? I thought I saw Midas on there. Nah, I guess I was just clicking on the Weaver when that happened. But that has to be a record for the most stocked Courier ever killed. I'm actually going to make a note to ask K-pop. Not to mention when you get that kill, it's like another, it's, what is it, another 750 gold, is it? Moo's looking to jump in here, bottom lane. Yeah, so it's close to a 9k swing for that period of time as Moo blinks in. Now he'll pop his ultimate and goes on to Newbee. This is the first burst split. Remember, there's a second one to come. There's a secondary Shiva's Guard available as well. But with the first one, they'll already find multiple kills. Driving the Undying out, killing him off, now working on Q. It's 3 dead. LGD really just gotta accept their fate. Q's in the fountain and probably gonna die to an HF Precise Blast. They'll dodge this one. They'll saw him. They'll wait out for split number 1. That's okay. We got Bruce split number 2. Don't even need the second Shivas. Just pop the split. Stomp down maybe. It'll be a wipe. LGD.cdec get absolutely thwomped by Newbee here in Starladder Season 10, China Action on day number 3. And they improved to 3-0 for LGD.cdec. They've shown promise in the past, but the struggles continue here at Starladder. They are now 0-3. With that being said, guys, of course, I'm LD of Beyond the Summit. If you enjoyed my casting, follow me on Twitter at LDDota. You can follow at Beyond the Summit on Twitter as well for news on lots of cool stuff coming up. Summit 2 details coming soon. Very soon, I promise. And, well, with that being said, VODs at youtube.com/Beyond the Summit TV. Guys, thanks for watching. We've got one more China match coming your way. That will be coming up in approximately 15 minutes time. So stay tuned for that.